Benvenuti tifosi napolitani to another edition of the Far From Vesuvius podcast. I am your host Raff, and I want to start off by saying that I apologize for the audio today in this intro. There's something wrong with my microphone, and if it doesn't sound the same, again, I apologize. But I am here to present to you today another episode of the RaNt. Raff and Raff's guest today, the one and only, Il Mister himself, Matteo Bonetti of ESPN and CalcioCast. We had a very good conversation with Matteo. He committed more time than he told us that he could, which was amazing, and I appreciate that. He gave us some excellent insight, which, he's been doing this forever, man. He is the Calcio guy. He worked the Napoli-Juve match from this past Saturday. We are recording on Wednesday, February 17th. Matteo was with us on Monday night, February 15th, and the match was Saturday, February 13th. And we are still all reeling from that, in a good way, from that 1-0 win against Juventus. Lorenzo Insigne with his 100th goal. The defense really stepping it up with, our big guns missing. It came at a price. We lost Lozano, riddled with injury, hit by the injury bug, and still we pull off the win. Very big win for Gattuso. And tomorrow, Thursday, is the Europa League round of 32, first leg at Granada. We also, since we last spoke to you, crashed out of the Coppa Italia to Atalanta 3-1. But, just to kind of catch things up with you guys, that's where we're at right now. And we want to bring you this great conversation that we had with Matteo. It was fun. It was, energetic, really good stories. And I do mention this in the show, but please do me a favor and give it a shot. Try Matteo's podcast. It's him and Kay Murray on patreon.com/CalcioCast. There is a paywall. Matteo can only do pay subscriptions because of his affiliation with ESPN, but it's very small. $2 a month gets you access to the podcast. $4 a month gets you a little bit more access to where you can interact. And then there is a contributor tier, which is $7 a month. That's what I do. Those are sold out right now. But if you would consider either doing $2 or $4 a month, if you can, try it. Trust me, try it, because I'm not a big paywall guy, but I really love it. It's great insight. It's from two people who've been in the business for a long time and know what they're talking about. And if you decide that you really, really like it, you can even sign up for a year, and you'd save 10% by doing so. But no obligation. Give it a month. Try it out. Trust me, I'm telling you guys, you'd really, really love it. On this podcast, they tell some really great stories when they were younger, when they grew up. They tell good stories about experiences that they had with being sports, experiences that they have at ESPN. They both work with ESPN. They were both at beIN Sports before, but every week after whatever match day comes, so even if there's like midweek match days, they do round up and they give their insight. So it's great. But if you don't want to pay, and I understand, times are hard, I get it. They also do a free podcast, but through ESPN. So ESPN FC has a series of podcasts, and they are every Wednesday, and the podcast is called Serie Awesome. This I also explain in the show, but I'll tell you a bit about it now. It's them with a panel of ESPN workers who concentrate on Serie A. It's people from Nicky Bandini, Gab Marcotti, Mina Rizuki, a bunch of other ESPN analysts. And every Wednesday they analyze Serie A. In CalcioCast, they go a little bit deeper and, are a lot more personable. They can be a little more relaxed. So whatever floats your boat, anything you guys want to do, go ahead. But definitely support them because they're very good people. And I listen to both anyway, so I'm just a big fan of theirs. Which is why when I asked Matteo to come on and he said, sure, no problem, why not? And then he committed to 20 minutes and ended up going almost an hour. I was just absolutely all in my glory. So take my advice and check them out, please. So yeah, I'm going to let Ralphie B take it away. And here it is, the Raff and Raff rant by Far From Vesuvius with Matteo Bonetti. And as always, Forza Napoli Sempre.
And good evening, fellas and bellas. Welcome to another edition of the Raff and Raff Rant. I am Raff Pizarro with my co-host, the Vicar of Vesuvio, Raffa Rispo, and the one and only Il Mr. Matteo Bonetti. Welcome, Matteo. Yes. Welcome to the rant. How are you?
What an honor, man. And I wish they had listened to the conversation we had before the show started. I was telling them I'm going to go get my hair cut. I'm going to get the fresh fade from Rafa's place in upstate New York. I keep forgetting the city where it's at, but we got to plug it all the time, man. I mean, look at that beard. Look how girthy that beard is. I wish I could grow anything like that on my face, man. I've got like this baby hair over here. It's all patchy, but I'm trying. It's all that matters.
It's not bad.
It's got the fresh beard oil, Matteo. You know, Rafa Scissorhands is here. You know,
I've heard it's like a little smell of sandalwood in the air every time you walk by.
Sandalwood and citrus.
It's like a walking incense, but the incense comes from the mane of hair. It's crazy.
So you've heard. Yes. This is true. But we have the man right here, Matteo Bonetti from ESPN, from CalcioCast. This guy is like big time when it comes to Serie A, and you know he'll tell you he's not, but he really is. He is. But Matteo, what's going on, man? Just we're here to talk about the match that you commentated on this past Saturday. We're gonna jive a little bit about Napoli in general. But what do you think of the Napoli match that you commentated? Napoli beats Juventus 1-0. We had a huge party on this show on Saturday after the game. But we got to hear from you, my friend. We got to hear from you. What do you take away from that?
I'll be honest, man. When I saw the formations and we were doing the prep and we were seeing the injury list, and you're seeing, oh god, Costas Manolas out, Kalidou Koulibaly out, Mario Rui, who I kind of like, but defensively, no one's going to confuse him for Paolo Maldini. And then on the other side, you see Juventus in this great streak in 2021 that they're winning games left and right. They've beaten good teams. They obviously beat Milan. And I was scared for Napoli, I'll be honest, because full strength Napoli, you get Kalidou Koulibaly in there, you get Manolas in there. That is a completely different defense. So when you see Maksimovic and how poor he's been, and you see Rachmani, who was making like his second start this whole year, I was worried. I thought it would be a goal onslaught from Juventus. So that's the thing, that when the lineups came up, I wasn't even focusing on the front, which was still pretty interesting, right? Because you had Lorenzo Insigne playing as a number 10, which isn't something we've seen that much. I was looking at the defenders, and I made sure that that's the point that I focused on the lineup. I'm worried about this vulnerable defense.
You asked me right before the match started. I mean, maybe 5 minutes before you went on the air, you asked me, dude, who's who you more worried about, Maksimovic or Rachmani? And I told you Maksimovic because somewhere inside I knew Rachmani would perform at some point, because what he did last season at Verona just was incredible, and in that 3-man defense back there. But Maksimovic has just been having a really awful season, going from actually being reliable last season without K2 at times and Manolas at times. And this season just dreadful, but I couldn't believe it myself, Matteo. I predicted a 3-1 loss, which I never predict. And I'm the most optimistic Napoli fan you'll ever meet, ever. And I was like, for sure, we're going to lose this one. So I couldn't believe when Joe Bacciglieri predicted the 1-0. I said, you're out of your friggin' mind, dude. But we pulled it off. And Maksimovic, Rachmani, Alex Meret. Let's talk about Alex Meret. I know
we got to. Let's talk about how he saved shots that went straight at him, please.
Oh, come on! It's called positioning. It's called positioning.
I agree. I'm not going to fight you on that. But Cristiano Ronaldo, anytime he's got a half volley, it wasn't even a volley, it was a half volley inside the 6-yard box, that he shot it straight at Meret. Okay, the Morata one a little bit more difficult, right? Then I think he made another kick save. And I'm a huge Alex Meret guy. I keep sharing the story every time that he gets to start, and I still think he should be starting over David Ospina. I know David Ospina's better with his feet, but we don't need an outfield player. You need someone that one-on-one is the best shot stopper, and I think Meret is a better shot stopper than Ospina. the under 21 Italian national team manager, okay, about 4 years ago. So this is when Donnarumma was good. This is this is after he came out and started playing games for Milan. It was in his second season at Milan. So he was highly rated even back then. The coach comes out and says, I coach both Meret and Donnarumma at the under, I forgot if it was under 18 or under 21, but one of the under levels. And he said, Meret, technically, as like technical goalkeeping skills and all that stuff, is better from what he saw behind the scenes than Donnarumma. So you see this, and I think when those comments were made, Meret was still Serie B. I think that's when he had that amazing Serie B season before he ever got the chance at Napoli. So that's why I started really focusing on this guy. I started watching some of his games, because when you hear someone who obviously knows what he's talking about saying that, now, obviously, Meret isn't the goalkeeper that Donnarumma is, but he also hasn't played the same amount of games, nowhere close. I mean, Donnarumma is a 21-year-old that's played 5 full seasons. I've never seen that before in my life. Whereas Meret now is kind of doing this time-sharing thing with Ospina and Gattuso. We're not quite sure who's the starter. It's like a goalkeeper by committee. Right. But that guy needs to play every single match, man. He needs to play through the errors that we saw last season, especially. What do you think about that, Raff?
I think I agree. I do agree. I'm so torn because I think Ospina and Meret both have their great qualities. I believe that, obviously Ospina's distribution is great. He's like a Pepe Reina in that sense, where he was able to distribute really well to the defenders and link up with the midfield. But Meret is just a shot stopper, man. He's a good shot stopper. He really is. A few mistakes from Meret, but last season we saw a couple of mistakes from Ospina. I haven't really seen a lot of mistakes from any of the goalkeepers this season, but I feel like they should be getting a more fair share of starts. But Gattuso really has his his Ospina hat on, and now that he's injured, it's come out that he's not going to play. He's missing about 10 or 12 days. That's a good chance for Meret to get a bunch of games in. He'll play both Europa League matches. He's going to play against Atalanta this weekend too. So, this is a good chance for Meret to really show. Because I know he's shown it before, but he can really show what he can do. But yeah, they were basically less than reactionary saves. They were shot right to him, but credit still, because he absolutely kept us in. Because if one wrong move or one false, what's the word I'm looking for? One false reaction.
Yeah, for sure.
And we lose 2-3-1, which is what my prediction was.
So did you notice though that down the middle Juve couldn't do anything? Everything had to go out wide, right? So they clogged the middle. They had Bakayoko, especially, is the guy that's in front of the defense, but everything went down the middle. And there was a ton of crosses into the box. So with all the crosses that Juve played, and I thought Cuadrado was torching Mario Rui on a few times in the first half, especially. Remember, he got through him. He played in a few really good balls. Sure. And that's where Rachmani especially was he's 6'4", Rachmani. He's a big guy. And I remember doing a lot of those Hellas Verona games last season where I thought he was the best out of the three. It was him, Koray Gunter, and Kumbulla, who's now at Roma. But Rachmani was the one that a lot of times was in the center. He was the slowest of the three, but he was also the most kind of like the physical enforcer of the three, where he had a little bit of like a Milan Skriniar to him, where he'd make you feel his presence. And when Napoli got him for 15 million euro, I was like, yeah, that's great. This is a guy that's only 25, 26. He's only played 2 seasons with Verona. He came out of nowhere, like another one of those guys from Verona that literally had no name before he went to Serie A, and then he got bought by a lot of money by a big team. But you buy a guy like Rachmani and you have Manolas and Koulibaly, there's no way this guy's going to start. Unless you play a back three, which isn't going to happen. There's no way he's going to start. So he's going to have to get scraps. And the good news for him is that it's a congested calendar. You've got tons of games. There's massive rotation for every team. He's going to get his chances. But there's also Maksimovic. Rachmani, I think, had some injury problems. He's come back. He had that horrible mistake in that game that I think he started where it was like a crazy, crazy error at the back. But again, I saw hot takes, people saying, oh, these Verona players, Amrabat, Kumbulla, Rachmani, it's like Atalanta where they leave the club and then they're nowhere near as good as they were. Give the guy some damn time. He's hardly played. He's hardly played with Napoli. He doesn't even know the guys that he's next to. He doesn't even know their first name. They just met before the game and shook hands. You got to give this guy some damn more time before making these reactionary judgments,
Right. He only
Now,
had like 2.5 games or something like that.
Sure,
It wasn't really.
sure.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And,
Twitter
and can you really blame Gattuso for that? Because you have a duo like Manolas and Koulibaly, you know what I mean? You're going to start them pretty much every single match, you know? So Maksimovic and Romani were sitting on the bench for a while before, you know, Koulibaly pulled up with an injury and then got COVID, and now Manolas is hurt. So, you know, it's a good problem to have them on the bench, but for them not to get the minutes hurt them a little bit. Now I feel like that they're playing together. They're kind of they're gelling a bit better. But I'm going to freestyle something that I didn't think of this before, but I'm going to think of it now. There's a few names that I know that you have an opinion on, that some of our listeners and viewers and fans and you know, friends here have their opinion on. So I'm going to throw a name at you, and I want you to like just kind of give us your quick one answer or like one phrase thought about. Okay. Bakayoko.
I loved him. I loved him at Milan. I mean, I didn't love the guy at Chelsea. And by the way, I did a lot of his Monaco games as well. I know this isn't a phrase, and I'm going to go off on a tangent, but I did that guy at Monaco when he was a boss. Like, that guy was amazing at Monaco. And he wasn't even nearly as good with the ball as he is now, as he was with Milan under Gattuso. So obviously Gattuso knows exactly what Bakayoko is going to give you. And at Napoli, like, he's got these long, like, telescopic legs. He's just able to poke the ball out. He's pretty comfortable on the ball, which I wasn't expecting when he joined Milan. And I totally understand why you'd want that guy, because you can have like Zielinski or Fabian Ruiz next to him who are going to get forward a little bit more. And you can trust just having Bakayoko there as that guy who's just playing in between the two center backs. So I love Bakayoko from the time I saw him at Milan. And it feels like in Serie A, that's just the league for him, because he plays his best football under Gattuso and in Serie A.
Okay, what about Victor Osimhen?
I mean, hard to judge him in this game against Juventus. He had made his first start since November. I went back when he signed with Napoli. I went back on this program that we use where you see every touch and every involvement a players had during the course of the game, and I just watched everything that Osimhen had done at Lille in the French league. And the thing that struck me is people were saying, "Oh yeah, he's quick." Okay, yeah, he is quick, but he's so much more than that. Like, this is a smart player on the ball. This is someone that moves really well, which you saw in the first few games of the season when he was healthy. And I still say it, the best version of Napoli in the beginning of the season when everyone was healthy, when you had Insigne, Mertens, Fabian, Osimhen, Lozano, obviously,
the whole game
all together. That team hit a high that we haven't really seen from that many clubs in Serie A this season. Like, that was a scary good team. And I had picked them as my dark horse for the Scudetto because I was like, my goodness, like, this is bordering like Maurizio Sarri peak levels. Some of the games that we saw when Osimhen was leading the line. And I was so impressed by his touch, his combinations with Mertens and Insigne, like the little back heels and flicks. And I don't think a lot of people that maybe didn't watch too much of the guy knew that he does that as well. He can link up. He can play a pass. You can play it off of him. And that's so important in the Napoli style that we have seen now for so many years, where it's usually a team that plays good football. It's a team that plays the ball on the ground and that needs the number 9 to have a pretty good touch.
Okay. Fabian Ruiz. Ooh, this
Love
is a
him,
tough
man.
one. This is
Love
I
him.
know.
Hey, I've got the receipts, Rafa Rispo. Okay. I've got the receipts.
I know you do. Listen,
what did I say?
I use you as the reference, man. I try to I put this guy up here when people are having him down here. I think he's going to go. I do think he's going to go in the summertime, which may be a mistake, may not be a mistake. I think it depends on what we see from him from the second half of the season. But I think if you had to ask me, gun to my head, who from this team goes in the summertime, it's Fabian Ruiz. But you're a fan. I mean, he's got his great qualities, but there are times where he's just kind of lost.
Inconsistency is what you're going to say, right?
It's inconsistent, and we feel that he's not playing in his correct position, right, Ralph? Ralph is a big advocate of that.
So it was funny, Matteo. Like, there was this one point that I just couldn't stand Ruiz. I mean, and I think it was because he was slightly overrated at times. But this guy over here next to me, Rafa Rispo, convinced me. He's like, I'll give him a chance, rewatch him.
I did.
So Fabian could thank him, and it was funny because now it's kind of gone. Me and Rafa flip flopped a little bit, whereas I'm just like, hey, I think Ruiz is great, and he's like, he's gotta go. So, but in reality, we think that maybe collectively think that he is a bit out of position. And I think sitting that far back as a CDM to me is really wasting his greatest assets, which in my opinion are his passes and his shots. So
can I just respond to one of the comments? Gianluca
Please.
Spinelli says, I like Fabian, but if we replace him with DePaul, then no one will miss him. You put soap in your mouth and you rinse that dirty mouth. Let's not even pretend that Rodrigo DePaul, who's a good player, is on the same planet as Fabian Ruiz. Fabian Ruiz, to me, potentially world class. But this is like Paul Pogba when he went to Manchester United, that he was being playing in front of the defense. You can't play a number 10 because that's what Fabian Ruiz was. I did a lot of his Real Betis games when he was the player that Napoli bought because they saw what he could do.
Right.
He wasn't playing in front of the defense. He was behind the striker. He was a guy that would connect the midfield with the attack, who would drive forward, who had that good final ball, who could shoot on goal. And someone who's like 6'2" as well. So he's got a good physique and he's elegant. He's athletic. He's got a great touch. Like he's so silky when he runs. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like Gaetano Castrovilli, that you see that guy. If I dropped you guys off in another planet, right? And you just dropped on a five-a-side pitch and you didn't know what the hell was going on. You didn't know what the sport it was. But if you saw Fabian Ruiz there with some of the best players in the world, I don't think he'd look out of place because he moves that well, I think, with the ball at his feet. You just can't get the end product and what he does well when he's right alongside Bakayoko, because he's going to have to run back. He's going to have to move back to a more defensive position, which isn't his. I play him like Piotr Zielinski. He's another number 10. Or he can play Midzala, okay, as a central midfielder. That's fine. Fabian Ruiz can do that too, but don't put him that so far back in the formation.
Right.
And it's just hard to judge players this year, man. Like with all the games
difficult.
and just talking to players who have had COVID, who have had like long COVID as well, and athletes like Boga from Sassuolo has been dealing with a lot of problems for months after he got COVID. You don't know what these guys are going through. Like I have so many friends that are in their 30s or late 20s that are good athletes or that are just healthy, and they haven't been able to work out in months. And you're expecting these guys to go on a field for 90 minutes and run and compete with the best, like physically fit athletes in the world. So it's hard for me to judge anyone after this whole COVID situation and the way that, and especially Fabian Ruiz, who's been out of position. But I think you have to keep him unless, and Napoli has done this better than any team, guys, in the last 10 years. Normally, and I look at the NBA as well, you sell one superstar and you get 3 or 4 pieces, it's usually like getting 75 cents back on the dollar, right? It hardly ever works when you're trading a superstar for a bunch of role players or stars that aren't at the same level. But Napoli's done it so good, man. I mean, just think that for Edinson Cavani, they got Gonzalo Higuain, Jose Callejon, and Raul Albiol, right? 3 players that went on and had a really good career with Napoli. Obviously, Higuain, I know you can't mention him in Napoli circles, but he's still 36-goal scorer. Jose Callejon, super consistent for all those years. Raul Albiol, good partner to Koulibaly.
Just the leadership presence alone from Raul.
Of course. Someone that just had a great IQ. Right. And I feel like Napoli can do that well, where if you're getting 75, 80 million euro for Fabian Ruiz, you say, right, well, given our track record and our scouting, we can get 2 or 3 pieces and maybe we're not going to feel that loss so much. But if Napoli finishes top 4, they have to keep him. If they don't, I think he goes.
All right, and then I kind of want to touch on this really quick. Andrea Pirlo, after the match, he said that he didn't think it was a foul. He didn't see it, but if he has to go back and take a look, it would be most likely that it's not a foul. And he said something about it was a foul because it was against Juventus. Now,
that's ridiculous.
I thought Andrea Pirlo was a lot smarter than that. I have a lot of respect for him because I'm a huge Nazionale fan too, Matteo. But I knew at some point, him being a Juventino, that I would lose respect for him somewhere. And that to make an excuse like that was not Pirlo-esque, if you ask me.
Milan fans, I think, loathe that guy more than anyone because he won everything with Milan. Yes. He won 2 Champions Leagues. He was part of a really amazing team in the 21st century, what Milan did in the mid-2000s. And then he goes over to Juve, and it's like, okay, he played less time at Juventus. He just finished his career there in Serie A. Then he went to MLS. And now he acts like he's like this lifelong Juventino.
Yeah.
Right? Even Juve was like, oh,
Quentin hits it on the head.
That's why he's the coach now. He's part of the family. It's like, what happened with Milan? Where the name Pirlo comes from what he did at Milan. Like, that's where he was at his absolute peak. I know the last few years under Allegri weren't great, but I feel like a lot of Milanisti feel a bit disrespected by that, and they kind of loathe him now, like the super intense Milan fans. But I disagree with what Pirlo said. I think he's just saying it because he's the Juve boss. If he was the Napoli boss, he would say the complete opposite. And I look at, I have no life, and it's my job. I have to read the whole pamphlet of the rules and the laws of every change that they make in terms of the handball, what's a penalty, all that stuff for like VAR, because we have to know exactly what's going on at all times. That's a penalty. Like that, there's no other way around it. You can't flail your arm in the box. I don't care if in your day in the 80s or the 90s that was allowed. The game's evolved. What happened in the 80s where you could break someone's tibia and not get a yellow card,
right?
VAR flags everything. So you can't do as much, but that's not the fault of the referee. That's just the way that the laws are. You cannot swing your arm. And by the way, Romani's eye was completely like bloodshot purple.
Right.
He got a big...
It was redder than that shirt.
Nail in his eyeball.
It was a left hook.
Exactly. Half his face was red inside the box. And the only thing you can say is, okay, Romani was nowhere near getting the ball, but it doesn't matter in this situation because the contact was on him. It was a tough one. I get it. It sucks because you never want a game that important decided by a penalty, but it was a penalty. And I stood by it when I saw it. I was like, that's a penalty. They're going to go to VR and they're going to award it. And by the way, le palle d'insigne, this big, come up.
Oh, man.
All the Italian media, and this is something that really bothered me, guys. The Italian media, and Lorenzo Insigne to me is actually a very underrated player at this point because if Lorenzo Insigne, I think, played for a team that was a little bigger, right? Just in terms of worldwide appeal, you think of Milan, Inter, Juventus, for example. I think he'd have a very different persona. Maybe it kind of reminds me of the way that Totti always stayed at Rome. Had Totti gone to Real Madrid, he would have been a completely different level. I think Insigne knew what people were saying about him in the media, that this is a mentality thing. He's got a weak mentality. He doesn't step up in the biggest game against Juventus. It's something that he's scared. And he went to the spot because he could have easily deferred and said, you know what? I've missed 3 out of 3 against Juve. We lost the Supercoppa. It wasn't his fault, but, it would have definitely changed the outcome of the game. I love that he went to the penalty spot and he smashed it. Like, that was a strike of someone who's got confidence. You can see from the penalty spot and the run-up in the way that they strike the ball how confident they are. If you're not confident, you're not hitting that ball with the laces in a miss onto the top corner because you have a higher degree of missing it if you go top. If you stay in the bottom, at least you know that there's only one thing that could go wrong. It can only go sideways. But if you go top corner, it could go sideways or above the crossbar. So you're basically doubling your chances of something wrong happening. So I thought that was a real statement from Lorenzo Insigne, and I love to see it. I really did because he's a player I really like. He's a player that Ventura should have had starting for the Italian national team. The Italian national team maybe would have gone to the World Cup if Lorenzo Insigne was on the pitch.
You saw what De Rossi was saying. No. You saw what De Rossi was saying to Ventura when he wanted to put De Rossi on in the dying embers of that second leg against Sweden. And he's saying, why are you putting me in? We had Insigne sitting here. We need a goal. What's going on with you? And right? Wasn't that a great? It was a great moment.
It was because you shouldn't have the players basically realizing the coach has no idea what he's doing. Let's not forget that Ventura is a guy that played two central midfielders. He played a 4-2-4 against Spain, a team that has 5 central midfielders, and they got destroyed. Yeah. It's like, no, you load up on the midfield. Like, Ventura did everything wrong. It was the darkest period of the Italian national team in the last
Tell me about it, man.
Years, man.
There's a reason why Ventura only lasts half a season in Serie C in the first year, man. I'll tell you right now, in the first year of Serie C, Ventura was the manager. They replaced him with Eddie Rea, and then we went and did our thing. Last thing I want to bring up to you, Matteo, before we let you go. We have expectations of what Napoli is going to do. Some of us have different ones. Mine is top 4. Goals, basically, like achievements, like what's the word I'm looking for? Expectations of top 4. I think we can still get there. And I think that we can make a deep run in Europa League. These guys have time to get better. We have 8 missing players, and they have time to get better. If we can get past Granada, I think we're going to be in good shape. But what do you say? What say you about Napoli's expectations? What are your expectations for Napoli after seeing the first? Because in the beginning of the season, before the season even kicked off, I had people 6th, 7th, 8th, no Europe. Just fighting for 4th.
It's crazy.
Nobody was talking about Napoli in a Scudetto race, which I wasn't either. But at the same time, no. But when we saw them, like you said, at the beginning of the season with Osimhen, with everybody flying on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders. It's a little inside thing between me and Matteo.
All right.
When we saw jokes, it's the thing. That's how far back.
Yeah, it's all good. We're cool. We're cool, Rafi. Don't worry about it. Sit there.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, I will.
No, but what I'm saying is that then the fixture started piling up. This fixture list started piling up, and things happen, injuries, COVID, all that stuff. But now, where we're at now, where are we going to go? Where do you think Napoli? And don't pander to us because we're a Napoli account.
I'm not.
Give us the truth. Give us your feelings. Nobody here should feel disrespected by what you say.
Yes.
Whatever you say in your heart about Napoli, we appreciate it.
Just make sure it sounds good for Napoli. That's all.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I've said before the Raff and Raff podcast. I've said it all year. Sure. I think Napoli is top 4 in terms of talent. I would actually put Napoli 3rd behind Juventus and Inter. I'd put Milan 4th, Roma 5th or 6th, and Lazio there as well, with Atalanta just behind. But Atalanta always overachieve. I think Napoli have a better squad than Roma. I really do. I think they have players that, if you did a combined 11, it would probably have 7 Napoli players and 4 Roma players if I were to sit down and do that. I think Napoli, now that they're getting the most important players back, like, you need to get Koulibaly and Manolas back. You have those 2 guys. You've got Di Lorenzo. You've got Mario Rui, Bakayoko. I just wish there was a partner for Bakayoko, not Diego Demme, who I don't mind, but you need someone. And not Fabian Ruiz either, because he's kind of wasted there. So unless you play 3 central midfielders and you go Bakayoko, Zielinski, Fabian Ruiz, and then up top you do Lozano, Osimhen, Insigne. That's probably the best 11 with like Mertens as the super sub. That team should be a top 4 team. And you just need to get back these players. I know that Dries Mertens had that ankle injury that actually happened when we were calling that game, and he did it all. It was like self-inflicted. But now that you're slowly getting back these players, right? Okay, you got back Osimhen. That's great. Fabian Ruiz is back. Now you're going to get back to the defense. That's great news. I saw that Lozano's out for a while, but that's fine. I mean, you can still put Mertens there. You can put Politano there. You can put Petagna leading the line and Osimhen off of him. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do. And by the way, I like Petagna. I know that he's not the most.
I like Petagna. Yeah.
On Napoli,
for what he is, I like him. Yeah.
Let me tell you guys a good story. Christian Vieri told us when we worked with him at beIN Sports, Petagna called me up one day and he said, Bubble, I need help finishing because I don't score a lot of goals. He scored like 5 goals in the full season with Atalanta. And Bubble's like, all right, let's meet up in Milano next time I'm there. We'll go to the some yard and we'll do some shooting drills or whatever. And Bubble said he shoots it like a kid. Like, I saw him shoot and I was like, oh my God, this is a Serie A player, and he's shooting with like the toe of his foot. Like, no wonder he's not scoring. So after a whole summer of Bobo and Petagna practicing together, Petagna goes and he scores 16 goals for Spal, a terrible team that never created chances, that was defensive. He taught him how to hit the ball with the side of his foot to do those curling finishes. And you look at Petagna now, he's actually got a pretty good touch. Like, his touch isn't terrible. He can actually link up. I saw that dude at Spal at his very best. That's someone that can actually like kind of do a little bit of what Edin Dzeko does sometimes, where he's so difficult to muscle off the ball. I think he's totally fine as like a Vice Osimhen. You put him on the bet, you throw him off the bench, he can hold the play. I like that guy. I think Napoli have enough to make top 4. I really do. I think they finished 4th place. And I'm not just saying that because I'm with you 2 lovely gentlemen. I promise you.
What do you think about the Europa League? That's
If
difficult.
Napoli-
I know. That's tough. I know.
Man, it's because it's so difficult to predict if these Italian teams are going to go for it. I mean, I figure that now the incentive that if you win the Europa League, you go to Champions League, you have to go for it. You have to, especially when you know you're not going to win anything domestically. You're not going to win the Coppa Italia or the Scudetto. Europa League would be a huge achievement for Napoli.
I'm dying for
It'd be
it.
a great season. Everyone would remember. I'm with someone that Middlesbrough, terrible team, won the Europa League and I don't even know what year. And they talk about it all the time. Like all my friends that support small clubs that have one trophy, and I'm not saying Napoli's a small club, obviously.
No.
You don't win a lot of trophies. Like Napoli doesn't win a lot of trophies. You win the Europa League. That's actually a massive success.
Right.
You have to go if it's the Champions League, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
No, go ahead, Ralph. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like we had mentioned before, how like being successful in the Europa League is almost like a prerequisite to actually finding success in the Champions League. I mean, if you can't do it in the EL, you can't expect it to do it in the CL. So,
well, the thing is there's a lot of fans out there that think that the Europa League, we should just concentrate on the league and let the Europa League go. Probably not this season, but before. But if you expect to be a top 4 team or like a competitive in the Champions League, like Napoli is supposed to be in the Champions League every year, competitive at this point. The ADL has gotten us to that point. We need to expect a higher finish, like a far finish in the Europa League, because look at Inter last year. I know it was COVID, but still they made it to the final. And the record books show Inter made it to a European final. Napoli should be able to try to achieve that. Napoli should want to go for that. Fans should expect that. And plus, we don't have enough trophies in the cabinet to be like, meh, it's a Supercoppa. Meh, It's Coppa Italia. Absolutely not. We're not this Juve, Milan, Inter who have all these trophies galore. We need to be winning as much trophies as we can. That's why I was so into the Supercoppa this season. But whatever, it didn't happen. Wanted Coppa Italia, it's not going to happen. I at least want to see a nice like a semifinal to final, hopefully win the Europa League. That's my opinion. That's what I want to see.
Gattuso?
Gattuso stays. Gattuso stays for the season.
Tell me what you guys as Napoli fans, what would you do? How would you handle Gattuso's situation right now?
Gattuso souls.
So a lot of us are of the opinion that he's got to go now. That's not mine. But especially before the Juve game, a lot of fans here in this community are calling for his head. Something's got to change. We're never going to make top 4, blah, blah. We're nowhere near in the position that we were in last season when Gattuso took over. Maybe we were 7th, but we were 7th downward spiraling. We lost 7 matches this season, Matteo, but we only drew 1. We won 13. We've got one less win than Juve. We've got, I think, 1 less win than Milan even, or maybe 2. But still, we've dropped points in 8 games, but we've won 13. Go look at Liverpool right now. Tell me how they're doing. What they were supposed to do.
Would you take Maurizio Sarri back?
No, absolutely not. Nope. And not just because he left to go to Chelsea and then backdoor into Juventus. No, I wouldn't take him back because I feel like that was the right team at the right time, the right manager, the right circumstances, and even he effed it up, dude. He barely rotated the squad. It was something that we really on this platform were very annoyed with. He had no plan B. He made the same substitutions every week. He let people rot on the bench that he asked for. And by the end of the season, Mertens is and it was the Koulibaly goal against Juve, dude. And then to drop that game to Fiorentina, no matter what happened between Juve and Inter the next week. I don't care that, I do, obviously, Pjanic should have been sent off against Inter, but Napoli should have put away Fiorentina, and it would still have been a 1-point difference with 3 matches left.
Raff, I'm going to give you a hot take. Do you remember Napoli against Real Madrid in the Champions League at the Bernabeu? Do you remember that?
I do. And we were talking. A lot of us have been talking about that today. Yes.
You remember that hamstring pass that released Insigne, one of the greatest moments in Napoli's 21st century? You remember that?
I did. Yeah.
If Gattuso was the manager that day, Juventus beat Real Madrid and they go through to the next round. What Sarri did in that game, to me, is inexcusable. And that's when I started getting annoyed by this guy that's a philosopher at all costs, that I only play one way. That's fine if you manage a team that's in the bottom of the table that has this kind of like, it's fine, we'll concede 4, but we'll score 5. And yeah, that's fine if you do that against Spezia or Benevento or Parma or Genoa. You try that crap when you've already scored at the Bernabeu against the defending world champions who won the Champions League in the season before, and you score a goal. And you say, you know what, I'm going to keep sending everyone forward. You're going to get absolutely decimated at the back. And Sarri lost that game for Napoli because any other sensible manager would have said, you know what, we got the early goal. We're against the best team in the world. We have to close up. We have to close up, and we have to kill them on the counterattack because Napoli had pace that year. I remember they had pace up front. You had technical players in the midfield. You have to close up. You have to defend. They kept themselves open. And then Real Madrid, I think, scored 3 in the end. But
they did.
I've got a love-hate relationship with Sarri because I feel like he's overrated. I absolutely do. He's not a good man-manager. And what I know, talking to some of the players last year, we were sent to Boston to cover the ICC training for Milan when Marco Giampaolo was actually the manager at the time. But I asked some of the players what it was like working under Gattuso. And they all loved him, man. Like, they thought Gattuso is a guy that fires you up. He's actually got good tactical, like, his tactics are good. Like, he's never going to be, no one's ever going to mistake him for being this tactical genius, but he can change during the course of the game, and he can adapt to the team that he has, which I think is such an important quality in a manager. And the players said that guy always has your back. He tells it to your face how it is. He knows how to deal with players that have a strong personality, because you can also cower when Gattuso goes at you because he's an intimidating guy, and he will tell you exactly, like, you played like shit. We can't have that ever again. And some players don't react well to that. I think this currently Napoli team does, and I thought he was the perfect man to take over after that craziness with the coup and Ancelotti and the rebellion and players not getting docked wages and all that craziness. Like, Gattuso's someone that is going to keep them in line. I would keep him until the summer. I think it's crazy to talk about sacking him now. I think it's so stupid because who else is out there realistically now that's going to make a change? Napoli's had some of the worst injuries in the league, and not just any injuries, but injuries to some of the best players that they have that fundamentally change the identity of the team. If you go to the summer and you say, right, we actually see that, I don't know, I'm just going to make up a name, Mauricio Pochettino, he's not available, but Mauricio Pochettino, he's available. Okay, that's fine. Pochettino's a great manager. But I say you give Gattuso another year. I really do. Because I think that team fights for him. I think you saw it against Juventus. You saw the reaction that they all went and hugged each other because they all love that guy. They all do. They all would fight for him. And you play a normal season that isn't so congested where you don't have 3 games in a week and you don't have COVID wiping out half your team any given day. And I would give him another chance, but I'm not surprised at all if they sack him in the summer. And I'd feel bad for him because I really do like him as a manager. I don't think he's a top manager, but he's fine for now until a genuinely great option comes along, is my take.
I know you have to run to. No, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead, Raff. Go ahead.
No, it was one question. No, I didn't like De Laurentiis kind of give him an ultimatum saying if you qualify for Champions and or win the EL, I'll hand you the contract and it's yours to sign if you want. He finished with if you want, of course. So it's a possibility. I don't think we're 100% sure what exactly will happen to Gattuso at the end of the season, but if he succeeds, it's more than likely he'll get another year if he wants to stay. But I think my biggest question right now is, does he want to stay? Does he really want to stay?
Absolutely.
He can't do that during the course of the season. You can't have the president. This is my problem with De Laurentiis. He's too emotional during the course of the season. You have to let the manager work. Like, that doesn't inspire confidence or calm behind the scenes.
No, it causes rift.
These claims, and we've seen this time and time again. This isn't the first time ever. It's pretty frustrating.
But, I mean, he did support him at some point, though. I mean, I know that.
I think he still does kind of support him, but like Matteo said, you can't do that to someone in the middle of their tenure. Like,
I hear that.
Like, we're actually, because we're not in the situation we were with Ancelotti. We're fighting for Champions League place. We have one match to play still against Juventus, and if we win that, say we won that back in October, we're at 43 points with with who's it with Inter? No, Inter. No, it's Roma with Roma right now in third.
Yeah.
And
by the way, I'm loving the the fan interaction as well, and it's so cool to see all these Neapolitan Americans. I'm guessing most of them are, right?
Yes,
we got tons
Neapolitan Americans. We have some people from all over the place. Really, honestly, we've got someone from the UK who's a diehard Napoli fan. We've got Australia, India, Pakistan, Canada,
New Zealand was in
Canada.
Yeah, but before the show, I was telling
Florida,
Raff,
another country, Florida. You know,
hey, it is a completely different country. I agree. And I'm from Miami. I'm from the
I know
MIA.
you are. Matteo, my cousin is born and raised in Napoli. My cousin Luca, who's not on here today. I think my cousin Dan is here, but he was born here. But my cousin Luca is born and raised in Napoli. But he'll always say, "I'm from Miami." He's not from Miami. After Italy, they came to New York, and then he moved to Florida when he was
I told you guys,
my best he's from Miami.
I have to say, if anyone hasn't been to Napoli, if we have a lot of second-generation Italian Americans that haven't taken the chance to go to Napoli, that place is unlike anywhere else in Italy. Like, my dad told me the taxi drivers in Napoli are the funniest people. Like, it's like a comedy store. Anytime you get into a taxi with a Napolitano, it is like comedy hour. Those dudes are so funny. They have so much personality. I went from the train station, which is an experience of its own because it's like, people are aggressive drivers, man. Like, I'm used to Miami driving, like US driving where the roads are like that. I've never seen more aggressive driving. The taxi guy comes in, he starts meowing at us. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like something bad's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
And he starts meowing the whole time. Like, he'll turn around, and he goes, meow. And I'm like, oh, tutto bene? And he goes, sono il gatto di Napoli, and he starts saying like that he's the famous meower of Napoli. That he goes on the streets and people think there's a cat in the tree, but it's him meowing. I was like, this is just like a normal time. I've never had an experience like that. And then you have the taxi. All while he's going in contromano, he's going on the other side of the road. With incoming traffic swerving in between, and this was just to go to the dock, which is like a 5-minute drive. I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. Like, you don't have to risk our life to get us there. We're perfectly on time. Just go the speed limit.
He was driving slow. Yeah, I think.
Dude, I was in a house. Kay is in the house. She told me not to shave the beard.
Yeah, I just want to throw that up again.
Listen.
Thank you.
My fiance, Allison, is in love with Gattuso. Absolutely. I mean, not just the way he looks, because she thinks he's top. I heard your manager's table.
You both have that nice, thick, girthy beard.
Well, no, he shaved it. He shaved it off. He's got the stash with the soul patch now. And I don't know if it was you. I don't know.
I'll be honest.
But I don't know if it was you or Mark who said this. But somebody said you don't know who's. It was Mark. Phenomenal, by the way. The two of you together on ESPN. I'll
pass on the message. And he reads out your comments on air, so you know that he loves you.
He does. So checks in the mail. So I'm waiting on it.
Free haircut. The problem is Mark doesn't have any hair, so there's nothing there.
Hey, I can do the hot towel shave. No worries.
He does mine. Look.
He said my fiance is the biggest Gattuso fan. Never mind the way he looks. He's attractive. She thinks that he's like the glue that holds Napoli together. And she made a comment last show that we didn't get to finish commenting on. And she said that it's clear that these players are playing for him. He has to stay. And, this is just her. And in here somewhere was my kids too. So this is what you have to look forward to, Matteo. Calcio Baby will be the biggest Milan fan. I know that. He's probably going to be a Borough fan.
Oh, yeah, man. Hell yeah. Maybe he's grown up in Connecticut, though. I just moved here.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Hockey and baseball and all this stuff.
But listen, it doesn't matter because my kids are growing up in Schuylerville and Saratoga Springs, New York. Trust me when I tell you, as long as you keep going, dude, he'll never veer away from the sport. He won't. And my kids are just nuts about you guys too. It's great. Do me a favor, tip your hat just a little bit down here. Let's piss off some of those Ferrari fans.
Hey, this is the Patronus Mercedes team, man. I gotta rep. The kids, my kids half English, so you gotta. I know. Lewis Hamilton and all that. I'm just representing for the best car manufacturer in the world right now. Someone asked about Lozano. We haven't talked about him.
Yes,
dude. Lozano has been we have a beast of the match every time we do a post game. Lozano is our beast of the season. He is just. I mean, when you talk about a reversal from last year, it's just incredible to me what he's been doing on this. I mean, coming back like he was Cavani, like Cavani used to. Mind you, Cavani is still my favorite player ever. So just so you know, I'm going to reference Cavani.
Hey, El Matador was a legend. I loved the Three Musketeers, him, Lavezzi,
oh man,
Hamšík, Gökhan Inler, Gemayeli behind them. Like, I have so many memories of that team, man. That was such a good counterattacking team under Mazzarri.
Sure. But anyway, Lozano, Chucky Lozano, man, he's just on fire. I tweeted this to you during the show, hoping you guys would say it on the air, but whatever. Lozano and Politano in the position of Callejon almost have the same amount of goals Callejon scored in the last 2 seasons. You know, it's not even a full season yet. So I think it's Lozano has 9 league goals.
Yes.
And Politano was 6. So that's what, 15. Okay. So 2 more league goals from the right side. And they've equaled Callejon's total for the last 2 seasons. And now we're big Callejon fans. Don't get me wrong. But
back post to Callejon. Cut inside from Insigne, back post to Callejon. Best move in Serie A that worked for like 6-7 years.
Scored so many goals, but
so
I'm so happy with what we have in Lozano and in Politano, man. Politano is like,
hey, he's tricky. He was a good player at Sassuolo. Like, people forget that. It's just because Conte deemed him surplus because he didn't fit in his formation. But Politano's like a capable Serie A player. Like, this is someone who will get you like 9 to 12 goals a season as a winger. He's shifty, he's tricky. He can give you like random great moments where you're like, who the hell is that? It's like, well, it's Politano, but you know, I was like, wow, that's really impressive. But let me answer your Lozano thing, man, because we work with a few Mexicans who are huge fans of Chucky Lozano. They watched him at PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch league, where he was always a left winger, right? Because he's someone that likes to cut inside on his right. He's an inverted winger, which is all the rage nowadays. And I remember that first half season under Ancelotti. Ancelotti was playing a 4-4-2. And when Lozano did play, which wasn't often, he would play as a right-sided striker. And I was looking at that saying, like this dude's completely out of position. Like, if he's on the right, he's just like more of a crosser. You got to get that guy on the left. But you're joining a team which, in the end, that I'll be honest, the signing, I like the player, but it didn't make any sense to me. Because you're bringing a left winger when you already have Lorenzo Insigne, who's not going anywhere, who's still got a lot of years left in the tank, who's always going to play left wing, unless he moves to a number 10, which we saw against Juventus, which happens eventually when you lose pace. Like, just look at Papu Gomez. But you also have Dries Mertens, who is originally a left winger, even though he kind of became one of the best number 9s for a whole season under Sarri. So there wasn't anywhere to play for Lozano except the position that wasn't his. And that was my problem originally when he was signed. But, I mean, credit Gattuso. You guys all – I've seen some people hating on Gattuso a little bit. He's the guy who got the best out of Lozano in the end, because he could have easily said, you know what, this dude's not training hard in practice. Get rid of him.
Yeah, you're right. And he almost did. He said it. He said, you know what, you're not going to play on my team if you don't have the heart. And he told him, you need to learn Italian, and you need to you need to grow some sack and start playing for us, man, because what you did last season is not working, and he's the guy that did it. Matteo, I know you're pressed for time. I wore this jacket because of your Rimini jacket story. I've been wanting to do this.
You want me to share the jacket?
If you can, really quickly, but you have a similar Rimini jacket, right?
Kappa, right? Yeah, Kappa, legendary brand, man. I love that symbol going all down the arms and everything. I used to collect Kappa sweaters when I was at Tamarro back like at 18, 19, you know, with the blowout and the whole Kappa sweaters and all that. The Havaiana sandals. Honestly, I should have been arrested for indecent exposure. It's terrible.
Well, apparently now Kappa is very big in the urban market.
Is it? Is it making a comeback?
Very, very big. It's making a huge.
There we go. We got to unearth some.
Try to find some little like underground rappers or like, you know.
Oh, it's a rap, right.
You'll see it. You'll see it. They're wearing Kappa all over.
Yeah. That's just gotta wear them again. Then
check it out. I'll send you some stuff.
Slim fit now. I'm not wearing
too slim, dude. This you don't want to see under this. You don't want to see it.
It's like Kappa's like hugging you very tightly. I think that's why you like it. It's like those weighted blankets, you know, that people love now. That it feels like they're kind of like just hugging every ounce of you. I think that's why you like the jacket. It makes you feel.
Well, listen, man. I got a lot. One blanket. I got a few pounds here, man. I can't stand up. If I stand up, well. That's another story. Go ahead. Tell the jacket story.
Something that a lot of people don't know. People think of like the biggest rivalries. You think of like Roma Lazio, and you think of like the Derby del Sole, Juve Inter, Milan Inter, etc. there's a lot of random rivalries in Italian football, even in the lower leagues, that people maybe don't know as much. And I didn't know it. And I'm someone who works in the industry, like covering this damn sport. So I thought I should have known it. I was with my best friend in Rimini, which is a popular beachside town. We're wearing our Rimini Kappa sweaters. This was 10 years ago. And we go to a club in Cesena. Cesena had a team that also played in Serie B that year. Rimini,
that was the year Napoli was in Serie B with Juve and Genoa.
Remember, Rimini had Foccari, had Handanovic, and had someone else that was like a known Serie A player.
It was Matri,
yeah, someone like that. Anyway, we go to a club in Cesena, and Cesena Ultras are there, and me and my friend are in Rimini Kappa sweaters, and we had no idea. He knew, but he was like, "It's fine, no one's gonna mess with us." Man, the Cesena Ultras came to us. One of the guys flashed a knife. Okay, this is the first time. I grew up in Miami. Miami's, shit goes on in Miami.
Right.
Never had anyone flash a knife at me, though, ever once. And he started approaching us, and we ran I think they should have timed me. I would have set the Usain Bolt record out of that club. Basically, we got chased out by a knife-wielding Cesena Ultra just because we were like two kids with Rimini sweaters. That does not happen in the States. It's not even passion. It's a religion. And these are two small seaside towns near each other that have small teams in lower leagues, and they hate each other that much. What the hell's going on? And this is all over Italy.
The regional tension is just insane.
Would Juve Stabia have a beef with Napoli if they ever went up to
I believe they would. I think it's Napoli Salernitana. I think it's Napoli Avellino. Avellino and Napoli, I don't know if you remember, but there was a Sergio Ercolano, the kid that fell off the balcony at the Avellino Stadium, Napoli fan. Napoli ended up getting a 3-match home ban. This is in Serie B. We're talking about 02, maybe even 03. And there's a huge rivalry there. So when Avellino and Salernitana were in Serie B last season, I was kind of hoping for them both to come up so that we could have Benevento, Avellino, and Salernitana promoted. But Benevento made it. Looks like they're staying. It looks to me like Salernitana is making a big run for Serie A this season.
Well, they're owned by Lotito, so they're getting all the Lazio players as well.
But that's the thing now is that when they make it to Serie A, I think Lotito's got to sell the team, otherwise they can't compete, can they? I don't think you can have two of the same owners, and it's just similar with Napoli and Bari. If Bari make it all the way up, we got to figure something out. But I think that's why ADL might have sold it to his son. His son is the official owner, so there's. Technically, there's two owners.
Hey, we got a bunch of Castellamare people.
There's a lot. There's Avellino fans in here, Castellamare. Let me tell you a little story about Avellino really quick, and then I'm going to plug you because I know you have to go. But Avellino Napoli was the tie in Serie C in 2005 that if Napoli had won, they would have been promoted to Serie B. It was the promotion playoff. I think Spezia won that Serie. No, I think it was the year after. Oh, no, it was Rimini. Rimini won that Serie B that season. And then it was Avellino Napoli in the playoffs in the final. And 3 days earlier, my oldest son, Jonathan, was born. Okay, this is 2005. That Sunday of the final, the second leg in Avellino, was a 0-0 at the first leg in Naples. And Napoli had a chance to make it to Serie B after their first season in Serie C, and they lost 2-1. And it was Father's Day, so it was my first Father's Day. I was buzzing. I was just because, dude, we cried when Napoli were in Fallimento. It was terrible. I was 23. 21. I was 21 years old, and I was crying. I'll never forget, ever. Unbelievable. And go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
but that's my story. So I hate Avellino because of that.
Bottom line, Raff hates Avellino. That's all.
My father. No, I can tell. I told you guys. I have one grandfather from the south. My family's. So my paternal grandparents, Bergamo and Milan. So Milan and Atalanta are the teams they support on my dad's side.
Right.
On my mom's side, grandmother's from Torino, huge Torino fans. And my other grandfather's from Benevento, so the witches. So I've got a little bit of Southern blood in me, man. Yeah. I love
but
Napoli.
Does he support Benevento? Does he support Benevento, or is he?
No, he doesn't like football.
He doesn't like. Oh, yeah.
But I've got a soft spot for Benevento. I'm 1/4 Beneventano, I think. Is what
Absolutely.
I've never been though.
But did
I
you have
love
a soft spot?
Peter.
Did you have a soft spot for Benevento when what was it? Brignoli scored the goal.
Damn equalizer? No, man. I was like,
First
look at
point.
this, the first ever point in Serie A, and
I
it's a
couldn't
freaking
believe it.
3rd minute header by the damn goalkeeper. Now, who's ever heard of Brignoli since?
No, I
Never
don't
heard of the guy. Like, I think Milan like kidnapped him. I've never heard of the guy again.
He might be at Pisa or something. I don't know.
I think he's in a pizzeria down there in Benevento.
Can I shout out Peter Scala again real quick here? Because
nobody has
ever.
Look at this.
Fun fact: my mother's from Caserta originally, so that's my side of Italy over there in Campania. So that was the first time I heard Casertana. So shout out to you, Peter.
That's awesome.
That's hipster right there, man. I'm talking Casertana.
Bro. We're real hipsters
we're
down there,
talk
man.
about mainstream Napoli.
We are kind of hipster.
It's all right. It's all right.
Listen,
it's a real hick town.
My dad is born and raised in Napoli. Came here when he was 18. He avoided the military. It was funny when we tried to go back because he was detained for about 3 hours in Rome. But Napoli is a team that it's just from when I was a kid. I'm 37 now. I'm gonna be 38 in a month, and I grew up on Maradona.
Fine Campania wine, I must say.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
I appreciate it. There's a few grays in here. There's a few Gattuso grays in here. But yeah, man, growing up, that was my team. But anyway, enough about me, dude. Listen, he has to go. We've kept him here for way longer than we were supposed to.
It's been fun. Hey, it's been really fun. So it's all good. All good.
But I want to let all of our listeners and viewers know that if you want to subscribe to CalcioCast, okay, and I'm not a big paywall kind of guy. I don't subscribe to anything paywall. I did to Matteo because Matteo and Kay absolutely just kill it. They kill it. You hear stories exactly like this on CalcioCast. We have such a great community. I'm part of not just a community on Patreon, but we're part of a Twitter group that we just chat about everything, not just Napoli, finance, hobbies, this and that, not just
finance, Bitcoin.
Well, we're talking about Bitcoin. We talk about things, we talk about things. And
it is. It's a great
How's the Euro doing, guys?
We do it. It's kind of like a family atmosphere where we answer all the questions and everyone knows each other. So it really is a great atmosphere. And I appreciate it. And people think, you just went on Patreon. But by my contract, I can't post things on iTunes and Spotify because we do an ESPN show on there, so it's kind of like conflicting. So right. I'm just on Patreon, and it has to be behind a pay. I can't have anything that's open to the public just by contract. So there's a reason for it. But you guys are awesome.
It's super affordable. It's great, and I'm you don't have to pay to be on the Twitter thing, But I pay. I continue to pay because Matteo is an amazing person. Kay is fantastic. I've been a huge fan of you guys since being sports. And you just are real. You know what I'm saying? You guys are real. So that's why I contribute. And check it out. Patreon.com/CalcioCast.
Yes.
Also check out ESPN FC podcasts anywhere you can find them. Every Wednesday, Serie Awesome on ESPN. Great staff there too. You have Nicky Bandini with you guys. It's also Kay and Matteo, by the way. You have Nicky Bandini, you have Gab Marcotti, and then you have Mina Rozuki, who I've got beef with, my friend, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I got beef.
I'll get her on. I'll get her on here, man. Hey,
get her on here.
And stuff, though. I have to say, you guys are doing really good stuff here. This is like studio level quality. Look at
it. All because of Raffi. Raffi B is the man when it comes to all this, man. We'd be lost without him.
Thank you.
He's
and you've got a great
really
community. I've been laughing at the comments. Like there's some hardcore, like Southern proper Verace, authentic guys. The next day we'll all go out for una pizza napoletana con la bufala, and we'll enjoy that together.
You get big shout outs, Matteo. Yeah.
If we can get some bufala. If we can get some bufala at Casa Rispo, I can make it on the uni. I just got myself an uni oven. It's a wood fire pizza oven.
You really make your own pizza?
I do. I got the 00 Caputo flour.
Obviously coming. It's like a 2-hour drive, but
I'm telling you, you got to come up here though. You got listen. COVID right now is restricting a lot of things, and you got babies and everything like that. So, We can wait. I'm a patient man, but you guys get up here. I'll give you a haircut. Maybe my fiance will do Kay's hair. You get the babies in. I can give Calcio Baby his first cut, maybe.
Costco sells
and
it.
After that, we go to Casa Rispo and we facevano bella pizza, no?
Una bella pizza.
Matteo,
By the way, if anyone's going down to Miami Beach, the number one pizzeria down there is called La Leggenda.
La Leggenda.
It's
there.
Pizza.
Yes.
It's the World Cup Napoletano winning pizzeria guy who won genuinely the Pizza World Cup in Las Vegas. He's got the plaster. It was reviewed by Barstool, I saw, and gave him a good score for a Neapolitan.
Yeah,
that is the best pizza I've ever had stateside, without a doubt, man. It's
perfect.
It's so good. La Leggenda in Miami Beach, you got to go. The guy's a crazy character. He's a proper Napoletano. Doesn't speak a word of English.
Love
just
it.
The way
Love it. Are you enjoying New Haven pizza?
Yeah, I'm not hating, man. There's so many snobs that are like, oh, it's New Haven pizza. It's actually really damn good, man.
It's so
good. We have one. I don't know if anyone here is from Connecticut or in the Northeast, but there's a place in Torrington, Connecticut, which is called Pizzeria Marzano. And the guy there is an Italian American who went to Naples, learned how to make pizza there, and he makes a kick-ass pizza napoletano with bufala. Does a really good job. So it's a bit of a drive. It's like 30 minutes from my house. But man, to get an authentic Neapolitan pie, you gotta drive if that's what it takes.
It's tough.
Pizzeria Mazzano, I like the name. Matteo, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you.
Of course.
I do. Excellent.
Matteo
Bonetti, guys.
Take care.
Say ciao. Forza CalcioCast.
Sì, ciao a tutti. Con la mia accento milanese saluto tutti qui. Dopo possiamo andare a prendere un caffettino in piazza. Ok.
Ma dai. Thank you, Matteo. Thank you so
ciao,
much.
Ciao, Matteo. Thank you.
All right,
guys.
Matteo Bonetti in the house, big time.
Man, he committed to a lot of time for us, guys. He was going to be on for 20 minutes, guys, and Kay's about to get because he's supposed
hungry.
to get dinner ready tonight. He's getting dinner ready tonight.
She came in the chat, right? She came in the chat. You know what that means?
She came in the chat saying, "Rafa, don't shave that beard a la Gattuso," meaning. It's subliminal, meaning Matteo, get your ass off this Raff and Raff rant and get dinner started.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Let's go. But you know what, Raff? I wanted to say a big thank you also to the people in the chat today.
Oh, you guys are fantastic.
We love you.
We see everything, and it's impossible to get everybody's comment up there, but we see everything. Yeah. You guys are all. I mean, I can't even name you all. You guys are all fantastic, fantastic. Guests and the comments and the questions are great. And Fran, yes, Kay and Matteo are married. You guys are all
not
awesome.
Really. Yeah, awesome. And you know what? You just showed you did good, guys. You did good on the chat. You're a part of this show. This is Napoli's home. We showed Matteo Bonetti a good time. Hopefully he never forgets it. Hopefully he joins us again one day. So I just wanted to thank you guys, because without you, it's nothing. You guys make it, and thank you, Rafa, to you as well. Ken couldn't make it today. It was unfortunate. He was supposed to be here. Ken, I'm giving you a big shout out.
Our show was supposed to be tomorrow, but Matteo had some stuff come up with ESPN and K2. So we do apologize about that. Ken, we really wanted you on. I want to shout out really quick. I want to shout out my cousin Dan. He's up here. He was a semi-hater of ours.
Oh, what up, Nicky?
First. But Dan has Dan Maluzis, he just commented, great show, keep it up. So I really do appreciate
that. Let me get him up here. Hold on.
I love you.
Let me get Dan up here.
That's my cousin, man. We grew up together. I love this guy. I basically moved up here. I want to shout out Joe Bianco. I want to shout out my boy Dom. I want to shout out my boy Dom out in California, San Diego. He's a barber like me. He's a big Napoli fan. His name on here, I believe, is
I kept seeing that.
Delgado _ Irad. Yeah. That's my guy. Gaetano, I want to say hi. We're going to get you on soon. Fran is my boy on the Instagram chat. It's okay. He's up there. but look for him. Yeah, there you go. Barber Love.
Yeah. I saw him. He had that really
good Calcio guys, Chris Estrada, my buddy Quentin, our sound guy.
Where's Quentin? Big up
Listen,
Bianco.
We can't name everybody.
Yo, you're too good.
Guys. I want to say hi to my boys, Rocco and Paulie. They're out there watching.
This is my godson right here.
Yeah,
turn him into
Silvio?
I bought him Nicky really, Silvio N. But I bought him his first Napoli jersey. It was a Hamsik jersey from Napoli, and he loved it. And he has been he's from Paraguay, but a Napoli fan for life. So shout out to you, Nicky.
Perfect.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. You guys, thank you so much. Don't culture guys. Look at these guys. These guys are great. So listen, we've got to get almost everybody here on. We're gonna get you guys on soon,
little by little.
But yeah, man, we want fans on. We want guys like Matteo on. We want guys like you guys on. We'll do it. But we should probably go Thursday, Europa League. We didn't really do the tickers, did we? We had tickers presented for you. No, but that's okay. No.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll save them, though.
We'll save them. We can update them. But Thursday, Europa League, Granada. That's 3:00 Eastern. And you can find that you can find that on Fubo TV if you've got a subscription. Otherwise, you got to pay for it through CBS. Yes. But
it's like $5 a month, guys. I think for $10,
it's not bad.
It's not that bad.
It's really not bad. And then we have Sunday at noon is the game Serie A against Atalanta. And then the second leg would be 12:55 on Thursday, the 25th.
Right.
So don't forget, we'll be post matching all those stuff on all those games, and we will be back with another rant sometime next week, possibly Tuesday night, so we can have Ken on too.
Right.
But you guys are absolutely fantastic. I believe it. Yes, it's either on television, Estrada, or it's on CBS.
CBS. Yeah, but we'll be here for the post games definitely. We'll open up the Napa line. Let some people call in. I want to get some more people to participate. So for sure.
Really quickly before we leave, Chris Estrada did ask something, and I want to get that out there very fast.
Sure.
So we can touch on it fast. But he asked how we should sign up. We should line up against Granada.
Yeah.
So I put the poll out there, and we touched on it with Matteo a little bit. But I personally think Insigne should take a rest and not start the match against Granada in the first leg. If he needs to come on for 30 minutes, let's get him in.
And start who, Rafa?
And start Elmas on the left.
Yeah, on the left.
If we put Zielinski in the number 10 role with Politano and Elmas, I know how you guys hate the formation changes, but that's a possibility. We have 8 players that are out, so we have to really consider that. But I think we can line up in our usual 4-3-2, 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 as long as Insigne is available. I think we'll line up like that.
Rest Insigne.
Wow. Well, Insigne, no. So then Joe Bianco said he doesn't know if he's available. He did practice today, and he said that he's not injured. He's just fatigued, and he might sit out. He might sit out as a starting, in the starting 11 for the game. So.
All right. So there you have it.
That's it, guys. We love you. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you next time. Forza Napoli.
Ciao, guys.
Sempre.
Ciao.